In this episode of Teach Me Something, Craig Chastain tries to teach Long how to make every minute of your day productive. Craig is a real estate rock star and the owner of Next Level Realty, brokered by eXp. He is a national real estate coach and has sold over $100 million in real estate. Craig sits in the top 1% of producers for Southern California. Will Long learn something new from Craig? We will find out on this episode of... Welcome to Teach Me Something, where our experts have 2 minutes to teach something new. I'm your host, Jesse Zgorski. Meet Long Dome. Long knows a lot about everything, but specifically real estate and leadership. Long has sold thousands of houses, but there's one thing you should know about him. Every day, he is committed to learning something new. And if he doesn't learn something new, he has to read a book for at least 20 minutes. Long loves to learn, but he hates reading books. Well, that's not totally true, but you get the idea. And Long has a short attention span, because his brain is always thinking, which is why our contestants only have 2 minutes. Let's see if Long can learn something new on Teach Me Something. You ready to roll?
I'm ready to roll.
And I love that this is so your style, Craig. I love that this is like 30 minutes of a presentation into 2 minutes, right? All right,
I love it.
Let's put 2 minutes on the timer and it's all yours.
All right, cool. Well, Long, I'm going to teach you in 2 minutes or less how you can have an ultra productive day so you can make the most out of every minute possible. So in order to do this, you're going to need 3 things. The first thing you need is a self-prioritized digital to-do list. Number 2 is a digital calendar like Google Calendar or iCloud. And the third thing is the ability to silence all notifications on your devices, including phone calls, with one exception, that's calendar alerts. So the self-prioritized to-do list is really the key to this whole system. You want to segment these lists into items that need to be taken care of right away, items that need to be handled before end of the day, and items that need to be addressed, in the next 48, 72 hours, so on and so on. And so this will do several things for you. One, it's going to get all the items out of your head so you can just think clearer. The second thing it's going to do is ensure that everything that's written down, so the less is forgotten. And the last thing, just allows for an efficient manner when there's unexpected downtime that comes up. You don't have to rack your brain about the 50 things you need to do for that day to try to figure out what's most important. It just allows you to jump in your highest priority list and work backwards from there. So as far as implementation, the night before or the morning of, look at your calendar and see where the white space is for your day. And then from there, go into that to-do list and backfill those time slots with the appropriate amount of time needed to complete each task. So, the goal is to calendar everything, breaks, lunches, etc. And since you have your notifications turned off, you're going to need a calendar, you need to calendar the missed calls, the voicemails, the text messages, all those things into your schedule. So depending upon what your typical day looks like, this could be once or twice a day. It could be every hour. But the key to making all this work is that, when it's not time to look at your calls or text, don't do it, because multitasking or task switching repeatedly is the killer of all productivity. Can we do it?
Ooh, with time to spare.
How much time was left?
I think 5, 10 seconds, something like that.
Oh, that's not that much. Okay.
So this will be interesting because Long is a time management whiz, and I know he knows a ton. So I'm curious, in all those nuggets, like I learned stuff in that because I'm still mastering the skill of time management. Long, what did you like that you heard in there, first of all?
Yeah, you and I geek about this kind of stuff. So I love this topic, and I love everything you're saying. I do a lot of that. One thing I did learn today is stop the notification. I kind of try to do that. Just I move. Because I'm OCD, Craig. So if I see like a notification, I have to address it. So what I've done is I move all the stuff from my first screen of my phone to the second screen so I can't see them. But I don't stop the notification. So maybe that's what I need to do is set the timer on that. But other than that, I love everything you said.
I mean, Craig is a master of the do not disturb mode. And he's not saying don't answer calls from your clients, right? So how do you handle that, Craig?
So our CRM has specific numbers in it for buyers and sellers to call out to us, or if someone calls in, it's going to come from that number. So in my list, I have my D&D turned off, but it allows calls from buyers and sellers. It allows sign calls, it allows Zillow calls, and it allows calls from my family. Anybody else is just going to go straight to voicemail. So I'm still getting those client calls.
Do you have auto responses if they call and you couldn't answer the phone?
I have them, but I would have to manually, select that. And the reality is, I probably check mine every hour and a half. And the reality is I'm still in production. So if I'm in a listing appointment, I'm out for an hour to an hour and a half. So it's not unrealistic for me to get back to them in an hour or two, because that's just what's normal.
How do you like for me, Jesse knows, I always said 80% capacity is 100%, because you always have the lead time in our industry to be reactive to things all the time. So what do you do with your white spaces when you have for the day? Talk more about that. You talk about like you have some white opening spaces.
Yeah. So if I were to look at my calendar tomorrow, I'm going to have appointments throughout the day, actual hard physical, either Zoom meetings or in-person appointments. And so those blocks of white space that I don't have, I'm going to go into my to-do list and go to the list of most priority and say, okay, where does this fit into my day? And start saying, hey, this is going to take me 20 minutes, fill in 20 minutes. This is going to take me 45, fill in 45. And I'm going to allocate for those. Stuff happens throughout the day. I'm actually going to time block like fires, like put out fires. Like there's literally a point in time in my calendar that says put out fires, because stuff happens. And so I can't, it's not realistic to just be like bang, 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 and nothing happens. So allocating times for those things is important. And sometimes there's nothing to put out, and it's like, okay, now I go back to my list and say, what else can I fill in there?
Cool. Love it. What do you do with items that you don't get to for the day or the next day and they keep carrying on and on? How do you solve those?
So I use the reminder app. That's what I call the digital to-do list. So that's fluid. You can move things, back and forth, up and down. I'm pretty good about getting the things done for the day that needs to get done. But if I don't, then I just move it wherever is applicable. And sometimes I find things that needed to get done that day actually didn't, and they just need to get done the next couple of days. And it's like, whatever, no big deal. Or I'll delegate it to somebody else or whatever the case may be.
I love it. Go ahead, Long.
Oh. Yes.
All right. So I was going to ask you, all right, so I know you're reading a lot of books this year and you want to read the books, but in terms of for today, do you have to read a book or did you learn something?
Definitely, Craig. I really appreciate what you share, and I do not need to read today. So, you help save 15 to 20 minutes of reading tonight. I can watch a TV show that I haven't watched in a while.
You can still read for fun. You're just not obligated to read. How about that?
That is correct.
Well, that's pretty impressive coming from like the Real Trends number one broker on the planet or something like that, right? Wouldn't you just get something crazy like number one broker in your state or something like that?
It's somewhere, something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty remarkable. That's awesome, man.
I love it. Well, thanks, Craig. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.